Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. It's good to be with you today. I have a passage I'd like to share. You may have read it before. Even if you haven't read it, you've probably felt the power or the concern expressed in these words. And so I'd like to share Psalm 143, beginning with verse 7. And it reads this way: Come quickly, Lord, and answer me, for my depression deepens. Don't turn away from me, or I will die. Let me hear of your unfailing love each morning, for I am trusting you. Show me where to walk, for I give myself to you. Rescue me from my enemies, Lord. I run to you to hide. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. Well, in this passage, we hear the psalmist expressing his deepest thoughts, ones that you and I have had, probably, ones that some of you may have right now. And it's totally understandable. We're just human. We're not perfect. We don't know everything. We can't control everything. And we certainly can't do everything. But God can. And with that thought, the psalmist says, let me look at the first part of here. Come quickly, Lord, and answer me, for my depression deepens. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of depression, I think of severe mental illness. But I know that most of us never get that far. But we do get depressed. Maybe we call it discouraged. But it's the same thing. It does the same thing. It paralyzes us from being able to do what God wants us to do. And certainly each of us have been discouraged at some point. And some of you listening today may be still very, very discouraged. It just doesn't look like there's any hope, there's any other way. There's no chance of this thing changing. But that's what this psalm talks about, because there is a chance. And there's more than just a chance. He says here, come quickly and answer me. God answers us when we talk to him. He always does. Sometimes we don't like the answer. You know, when you were younger, living at home with your parents, and you asked to do something, they said no, you didn't like it. You just didn't think it was fair. But they said no anyway. It wasn't they weren't listening. It wasn't that they weren't caring. But they just didn't agree that was good for you or me. Well, God does some of the similar things. Just answer me. God answers us all the time. In fact, we should be surprised if we think he hasn't. Not be surprised that he does. Just don't turn away from me or let me die. Here is a person calling out to the God of eternity, saying, I can't live without you. Now, I know a lot of people in this world today don't have much to do with God. They're busy, they're building their careers, they're managing their lives, trying to figure out the finances, and somehow spending time with God just isn't a priority for them. But that doesn't mean that God went anywhere. Doesn't mean that God changed. Just means that some people have forgotten him, at least for a while. But he never forgets us. Don't turn away. God's not going to turn away. He just isn't. It really is that simple. It's complicated, but it's simple. Let me hear of your unfailing love each morning, for I am trusting you. Each morning, it doesn't necessarily mean first thing in the morning. Though a lot of people report that's the best time to spend time with God. Personally, I try to spend time with God throughout the whole day. I don't have a routine where I get up in the morning and talk to God or read the scriptures or pray or something. I just do that as I go along through the day. And it really doesn't matter when you talk with God, it just matters that you do. So let me hear. How do we hear? Through the Word, through the presence of the Spirit, through the encouragement of others. We have to open our ears and listen. It's not that the sound isn't there or the words aren't there. It's just we may not be listening. And then he goes on to say, show me where to walk, for I give myself to you. This verse implies someone who really cares about doing what God wants them to do. Now, I hope that's who you are. I hope that describes you. If you want a full and joyful and abundant life, then spend it walking with God. Now, I don't mean being super spiritual and looking for signs under rocks and around trees. What I'm talking about is just letting God be your best friend. Take a walk together. Listen. Talk. See what he might have to say. And then the passage goes even further and says, rescue me from my enemies, for I run to you to hide. We all have enemies. Oh, we don't like it when people don't like us. I don't. I expect you don't either. There are some people who just don't care about that, but I don't think there are very many. We want to be liked. We want to be seen as good people. And in most situations and most times, we are. But we always have people who don't like us. They don't like something we said. They don't like something we did. Maybe they don't like us because they didn't like our great, great, great grandparents. I mean, who knows? I never know what people are thinking. Heck, half the time I'm not sure I know what I'm thinking. I can't judge their motivation. I can't somehow explain their actions. Only they can do that. So the fact that we have enemies is a given. And sometimes the enemies are spiritual ones, they're not physical ones. But the key here is he says, I run to you to hide me. Sort of the image of a mother chick with her baby chicks. When things get really bad, the baby chicks run to the mom. And the mom puts her wings over top of them and they live there secure, or at least it appears that way. So we can run to God and live secure. Now, we're not like chickens because God has a whole lot more abilities than a chicken does. But we can run to God for his protection. And then finally, the verse says, teach me to do your will, for you are my God. Doing what God wants is the essence of being alive. Whether it's easy or hard, simple or complicated, wonderful or horrible, doing what God wants leads us to the place where we can know him in his fullness. Well, thanks for listening. I hope today has struck a note with you. If you have a need or a concern, please let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Until next time, God bless you. I'll talk to you again.